Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Valentine Lister and this is my Major Arcana series. So for today's video, we are going to learn all about the Death card and what it means, the secret symbolism, including the numerology, astrological correspondence, and all that good stuff. Now, I will be telling you stuff that I didn't even know about the cards. You probably don't even know about the cards. You can't just look on any old Google search for this. I went deep. So I'm going to share it all with you, and I'm going to show you 3 different versions of the cards, including the Rider-Waite version, the OG version. Oh, and oh my goodness, I forgot to mention, yes, I am going to give you the upright and the reversed meanings of this card. I keep forgetting to say that, so I'm saying it now. All right, let's go. All right, the Death card, the one that strikes fear into a lot of people's hearts. All right, so what do we got going on here? Well, we have 3 different versions of this card. Right here in the middle, this card right here is from the OG Rider-Waite deck, the most popular deck, but not the only deck. Say it with me if you've been listening to my descriptions. Okay. So with the Rider-Waite, it's from the 1900s. Writers and publishers Rider and Waite published this deck there. Pamela Coleman Smith did the artwork. Gotta remember her. Great work. But tarot is actually a game that was played in the 1400s in Italy, and that's as far as we know. And somewhere along the way, it became a divination tool as well. Then on the right, I have the card from the Light Seers deck. This is the first deck I used, and this deck I recommend for beginners. And this deck over here is the Way Home Tarot. I also love this deck, and I highly recommend the book that goes along with this deck, which is WTF Tarot by Bakar Wintner. And if you are interested in these decks and tarot books that I learned from, I linked that down in the description below, so check that out. Okay, so let's get into the fun stuff, the numerology of the cards. So the number associated with this card, if you look at the card here, and we got Roman numerals, I know sometimes they're challenging, but that is number 13 in Roman numerals. And number 13, it symbolizes perpetual movement of creation, construction, and renewal. We have the 10, which was the ending of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. Plus we have the number 3, which is this really like beautiful connected energy of, like we said, creation, construction, and renewal, which gives you an interesting perspective on this card, right? Because when we think of death, we're not thinking creation, we're not thinking construction. We may be thinking of renewal, you know, if we think of death as moving into a new phase in life. But anyway, everything in this card means something. So every symbol means something that's going to give you a clue to what this card means and how to read into it. Okay, the secret symbolism. So I'm going to go into the Rider-Waite version first. That has the most symbolism. So we have a picture of the Grim Reaper here on a pale horse. And the horse is walking over to this guy over here, and he is a king. Oh wait, no. Messed up. Okay, that is the king. Whoa, on the ground, he got knocked over by this damn horse and his crown fell off. So he's a king, and so this horse is walking over that king like he don't care, and that symbolizes that even kings, even the head honchos on top that we think are untouchable, even they fall and pass away. So this guy over here, which I misnamed, he is actually a bishop. Okay, and he has a little hat on his head here, and it's called a mitre. And you notice when I block out his head, it looks like the mouth of a fish. Okay, and so it's representing, I guess, during this card, it's representing the age of Pisces, which is about to be ended by death. So it's like a time period back in the day, ending the period of Pisces. Okay, so because death carries a flag with the symbol of Mars, the next season in the zodiac cycle is, I believe, Aries, right? Aries comes after Pisces to start a new cycle. So remember in 13, we were talking about a new cycle, creation, construction, and renewal. So Pisces season is ending, and Aries season is beginning, and that's indicated by this flag with this flower here. So what's on the flag? So there's a 5-petal rose on this flag here. And that actually represents Mars and the life force, or the Kundalini energy. Because if you know anything about astrology, Aries is the first sign of the astrological year. It brings in that new cycle of the year when, like, in the northern hemisphere, spring comes in and it comes in strong. So Mars is like the god of war. He creates a lot of death, but he's also associated with life coming in forcefully. Okay, and so we're going to move on, and there's a river here in the background. You can see like a little boat back here too. And this actually represents the life force into materialization and out again. So life comes in and life goes out, you know, symbolizing what death is really all about. And we see the sun on the horizon over here in the east, and that actually indicates immortality once it rises up over these two buildings. And so remember, the sun actually does represent the soul. So a little cheesy, quick reminder, solar, soul, solar, soul. So when you see the sun, it represents the soul. It can also represent divination. Back in Hellenistic or traditional astrology, the sun actually represented connection with the soul, and it also was connected to divination and dreams. I think more in modern astrology, we connect the moon to that, and obviously everyone is connected to that energy, but just a little info about what the sun probably means most of the time in these cards. Okay. With the river, the water is actually coming up into the sky, and it will be sucked up into the clouds. It's kind of supposed to be a cloudy sky here. It's a little bit gray. And it will rain down again, right? Death and rebirth, death and rebirth. Okay, and so the bishop and child, the bishop and the child are looking on with concern and curiosity. And this woman, she's getting the vapors. She's like fainting. She's looking away. She cannot stand to look. This is awful, right? And so that's the main symbolism in this card. And I just want to point out, I'm moving on to the Light Seers deck. So this is a variation of what you might see if you're not using the original deck and how it connects to the original. We see, right? She puts on here, the creator, both death and rebirth, because this card is not just about death, although it is a painful thing, right? How many of us really want to let go and, you know, move on to that next phase in our life? We usually do not. And that's why the death card can strike so much fear in us, and we can have so much resistance, and it can be so painful because we just don't want to let go and move on, even if what's coming next is like a lot better than what's going on now. Okay, so in this card, we have another representation, really cool version of the Grim Reaper. He doesn't even have a face, right? It's super creepy. I love that. Okay, so the life force, we can see this life force through the cloak of death. But you're going to have to go through death, and it's going to hurt first. Okay, it's going to hurt unless you're like, I don't know, super centered and you can let go, right? But most of us can't. So also, we have the dark forces and negative destructive energy of life represented in this black cloth on the top here. And we have this positive life-giving force, like this light energy coming through after death. And if you look here, we have fir trees. And remember, everything in the card means something. So these fir trees, they actually, I looked that up, they represent the concept that life is a gift and not to take it for granted. How deep is that? How cool. All right, and they also stand for determination, perseverance, importance of remembering the past and learning from mistakes and cherishing the wonderful times. Awesome, awesome stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna go over to the symbolism in the Way Home Tarot, which is just as cool, right? So we look at the deer, and the deer relates to death. How does it relate to death? Well, this deer is dying, and the deer can be a symbol of spiritual authority and gentleness. A deer's antlers fall off. This deer doesn't have antlers, right? The antlers fall off during their life, and they grow again. So for this reason, they're a symbol of regeneration. Yes, right? After death comes rebirth. But, you know, definitely looks like it hurts here. This deer did not have a pleasant death, did it now? Okay, so there's crystals where the blood is, like where blood would be, okay? And so I looked, it actually looks like there's stones in here, a type of crystal. So it looks like it could be garnet, which represents love, eternity, and passion, right? And then we have like the snowy ground all around here. And winter, it's representing the winter of life. And pine cones, yes, these pine cones mean something too. The pine cones here and here, okay, they represent human enlightenment, resurrection, yes, eternal life, and regeneration. Okay, next, I'm going to go into the color symbolism, because learning the colors is going to be something that can, like, it's something once you know it, you can quickly understand meanings of the different symbols in the cards if you forget. So that's why it's super important to like just memorize like these basic things, like numbers and colors and things. So we have black, lots of black in here. Actually, not too much black in here, surprisingly, but so the black represents power, the unconscious, destruction, and wisdom, right? Okay, and then we have white. We have a lot of white here. We have white here, 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 and we have this white light coming through here. And white represents purity, wholeness, protection. And then we have light blue. Light blue is a big one over here, mostly in these two cards we have blue. It's a big one for compassion. Light blue, compassion, serenity, and mental clarity. Okay, and we have gold. Now remember I said like the sun relates to the soul. So when you see yellow or the color gold, it represents the soul. It also represents what the soul is all about: creativity, optimism, enthusiasm. Your soul is always like, you can do this, it's gonna be fine, all right? And so that's gold. And then we have a lot of red here. We have red shoes here, a little bit of red, and red on his little hat there. And then we have red here. And red represents desire, passion, vitality. Okay, then we have a little bit of green here, and we have green here on this grass, a little bit of green up here. And so the green represents healing, growth, fertility, and prosperity. Okay, so moving on to the astrological correspondence of this card. And if you know a little bit about, you know, which sign is related to death and rebirth, you'll know that it is related to Scorpio, which is a sign associated with transcending and overcoming the dark forces of life. Also, a little bit of clue, right? We had the flag of Mars representing Mars and the age of Mars. So if you don't know, the traditional ruler of Scorpio is Mars. So when you look at a lot of these like ancient things or older symbolism, the sign of Scorpio is going to relate to Mars, and it's actually the feminine expression of Mars. So back in the Hellenistic era, the traditional astrology era, they took those planets, and except for the sun and the moon, every single zodiac sign was related to a planet, and it was either the male expression of that planet or the female expression of that planet, which I think is super cool, like once I learned that. Okay, so I gave this card a nickname, and if you saw my major arcana, the easiest way to remember the major arcana video, you will know why. And if you have not seen that video, go watch it now. I'm going to link a card up here, because what's important to know is that you don't want to just learn each card by itself. That's going to be the harder way to learn it. You want to be able to connect the cards in a story, especially if you're an intuitive person. You need a story. A lot of us need stories or something relatable to be able to remember the card. So that video puts the major arcana in one big story, and helps you remember it that way. Okay, on to the juice. All right, we're going into the upright meaning of this card. And the upright meaning means there is the end of something: mortality, destruction, corruption, transformation, and change. So some examples of what this could be, remember to use your intuition of what it actually is. It could be many, many things, but examples are loss of a job or source of income, destructive fights in a relationship or the end of a relationship, having a marriage called off, or the loss of a home. Okay, on to the reversed meaning. So if the card is reversed, it's gonna be upside down. Okay, all right, and if it's reversed, if the card comes out reversed, it means the energy is being blocked or avoided. Now remember, you don't have to read the cards reversed, it's really up to you. But you need to remember that if it's reversed, the energy is there, death is there, but you're blocking it, someone else is blocking it from happening, the universe is blocking it from happening, and it's not coming through smoothly. There's like a blockage in there. All right, so the reversed meaning, therefore, means something along the lines of inertia, sleep, lethargy, hope destroyed, disaster, existential angst, political upheaval, revolution, and anarchy. So some examples of what that could be are riots, protests, death of a political figure, putting off the end of a relationship, not looking for a new home, even though you need to, not looking for a new form of income when you lose your job, and also fighting to stay in a home you need to leave. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed this video on the death card. This is just a quick reminder that if you really like this series, if you like this video and want to get more, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for when I release the next video in the Major Arcana series, which will be the Temperance card. And if you're watching this in the future or you want to catch up on the cards that I've already covered, I'm going to link a Major Arcana playlist like right around here. And I'm also going to put a related video for the Major Arcana up here. All right, love you guys so much. Take care. Bye. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for whenever I release a new video every single week.